Humanity unexpectedly became a symbol of change within the Confederation, sparking hope for the renewal of an ancient order. The Arcfire project turned truth and culture into weapons, defeating sabotage and propaganda faster than any enemy could strike. The attempt to destroy Earth with ancient relics failed thanks to the self-sacrifice of Admiral Vex'tulia Noor, who became a hero to all species. Instead of collapse, the Confederation evolved into an alliance of equals, with humanity standing proudly among the stars. Earth's story among the stars was only just beginning, and nothing could stop it now. Stay with us if you want to see how the story ends, and don't forget to subscribe. Admiral Vex'tulia Noor stood motionless on the observation bridge of the Stellar Dominance Dash, the flagship of the Galactic Confederation's third contact armada, as the blue and green sphere of Earth swelled in the center of the viewport. His four eyelids blinked sequentially, a subconscious display of rising anticipation. Beside him, Captain Nezal adjusted the heavy ceremonial armor draped over her lean frame, her expression one of visible boredom. "Remind me again why we're wasting time on these primitives," she asked, her tone dripping with disdain. "Protocol, Captain," Vex'tulia Noor replied, the words as much for himself as for her. "Every space-faring species is granted formal recognition once their probes leave their home system." Nezal snorted. "They've barely reached their own moon, and that was over half a century ago." Vex'tulia Noor suppressed a sigh. "Technically, their Voyager probes exited their heliosphere. It qualifies them." Lieutenant Zolvax, stationed at the forward console, interjected without looking up. Section 5.2 of the contact mandate specifies interstellar probe launch as threshold criteria, not sustained interstellar presence. "Thank you, Lieutenant," Nezal drawled, rolling all three of her eyes. "I'll be sure to quote you when we are worshipped as gods." "That would violate Section 12, Zolvax said earnestly. "Sarcasm, Lieutenant," Vex'tulia Noor said with forced patience. "Learn to detect it." The conversation died as Earth's profile dominated the viewport. Clouds swirled over vibrant oceans, continents basked under sun-dappled skies. Primitive, yes, but undeniably beautiful. Vex'tulia Noor felt a flicker of something he hadn't experienced in decades: curiosity. "Sir," called the communications officer. "We're detecting multiple launches from the surface. Metallic objects, vessels of some kind." Vex'tulia Noor straightened. "Define vessels." "Atmospheric breach confirmed. Launch signatures and Delta V consistent with spacecraft." "Several dozen." Nezal leaned closer to the screen, her earlier boredom evaporating. "Formation discipline," she murmured. "Grid patterns. Defensive lines. They're organized." "Impossible," Zolvax said, tapping frantically at his interface. "Our intelligence reports indicated no significant fleet capability." "Apparently," Nezal said dryly, "our intelligence is garbage." A new alert pinged. "Incoming hail from the planet's surface," the communications officer said, sounding stunned. "Put it through," Vex'tulia Noor ordered. The screen shifted to reveal a human woman in a dark blue uniform, adorned with unfamiliar insignias. Her expression was calm, her gaze steady. "This is Admiral Alina Blackburn of the United Earth Defense Fleet," she said. "You have entered Earth-controlled space without authorization. Identify yourselves and state your purpose." For a heartbeat, Vex'tulia Noor's foreheart stuttered. He recovered quickly. "I am Admiral Vex'tulia Noor of the Galactic Confederation," he intoned. "We come in peace, bearing gifts of knowledge and technology." Blackburn raised an eyebrow. "Appreciated. But next time, maybe send a message before dropping a battleship into our orbit." Vex'tulia Noor offered a diplomatic smile. "Your communications infrastructure is not compatible with Confederation standards." Direct approach was deemed more prudent. "Prudent?" Blackburn echoed, her mouth twitching into a humorless smile. "Sure. Maintain current position. Any attempt to close with Earth will be treated as hostile." Nezal suppressed a bark of laughter. Vex'tulia Noor inclined his head slightly. "We respect your caution, Admiral." Coordinates flashed across the communications panel, a designated rendezvous point, well clear of the planet. As the screen reverted to external view, Nezal whistled low. "Not what I expected." "Indeed," Vex'tulia Noor murmured. He turned to Zolvax. "Analyze those vessels. I want every detail." "Yes, Admiral," Zolvax said, fingers flying. Minutes passed in tense silence. "Preliminary readings complete," Zolvax said. "Admiral, their ship's energy signatures suggest gravitic drive systems, comparable to our Class 3 engines." "That's impossible," Nezal said, moving to read the data herself. "And their hull composites," Zolvax continued, "are alloy configurations we don't recognize. Energy weapon resistance is estimated to exceed standard Confederation shielding by 15%. Vex'tulia Noor's stomachs tightened. "Prepare my shuttle." "You're still going to meet them personally?" Nezal asked. "Diplomatic protocols stand," he said firmly. "And I intend to find out how they advanced this far without our knowledge." The shuttle launched, flanked by 3 human vessels that shadowed them like watchful wolves. Nezal watched their escort uneasily. "They act like veterans," she said. "Not wide-eyed primitives." The rendezvous point turned out to be a station, massive, sleek, and unmistakably human-made. As the shuttle docked, Vex'tulia found himself studying its structure, noting design choices that suggested not only technical prowess but an aesthetic appreciation for form that rivaled even the Kaltari artisans. The airlock cycled open. A delegation awaited them. Admiral Blackburn stepped forward. "Welcome to Unity Station, Admiral Vex'tulia." He inclined his head. "It is an honor." As they stepped into the station's grand concourse, Vex'tulia's mind raced. Something was terribly, wonderfully wrong about this mission. Earth was no fledgling species clinging to the edge of its gravity well. They had prepared. And the Confederation, in its hubris, had not. The initial negotiations unfolded under a dome of polarized glass that shifted its opacity with the angle of the sun, an architectural marvel that made even Nezal pause in admiration. Unity Station's council chamber could have easily graced the capital halls of any Confederation core world. Admiral Blackburn wasted no time. "You've seen our defenses. You've seen our readiness. We welcome dialogue, Admiral Vex'tulia, but not under the shadow of assumed superiority." Vex'tulia chose his words with surgical care. "The Confederation has protocols to ensure peaceful contact. Coexistence is our aim." Blackburn's mouth twitched. "Coexistence is built on trust. Trust is earned." She activated a hollow projection. The chamber lit up with images, human vessels not only in orbit but expanding outward, automated mining colonies threading the asteroid belt, preliminary terraforming bases blooming ruddy life on Mars, dark frame stations tethered around Jupiter's moons. Nezal hissed between her teeth. "Their footprint." Vex'tulia said nothing. The Confederation's own dossiers, months old, had made no mention of these advancements. Either Earth had hidden their progress with extraordinary cunning, or someone had quietly slipped them accelerants, technology seeded from an unknown benefactor. "We have questions," Blackburn said, cutting into his thoughts. "Why now? Why Earth? And why were your reconnaissance efforts conducted without consent?" Zolvax shifted uncomfortably behind Vex'tulia. Discovery of their deep space probes had not been anticipated. "Mistakes were made," Vex'tulia admitted. "Our council believed your species was still centuries from open contact." "You were wrong," Blackburn said simply. Tension coiled, a living thing in the air. Then, unexpectedly, Blackburn smiled, small, predatory. "But perhaps we can still find common ground." She tapped another command. The station's perimeter shields rippled to reveal incoming objects. Satellites, hundreds of them, fanning out from Earth's low orbit in synchronized patterns. Nezal stared. "That's not defensive deployment." "Correct," Blackburn said. "It's a message." Each satellite bloomed into a radiant emblem, a stylized Earth cradled by 7 stars, and alongside it, 7 unfamiliar glyphs, each corresponding to major Confederation member species. "We don't seek isolation," Blackburn said. "We seek a place among the stars as equals." For a moment, silence reigned. Then Vex'tulia inclined his head. "Your intent honors you." And so it began. Negotiations sprawled into days. Cultural exchange teams shuttled between vessels. Confederation linguists struggled to parse human idioms saturated with irony, defiance, and hope. Simultaneously, Confederation tacticians examined Earth's armaments and realized an uncomfortable truth. While Terran weaponry lacked refinement, their strategic improvisation, their sheer chaotic adaptability, outpaced any predictive model. It was during the third day that trouble bloomed. An unauthorized transmission, encrypted, skirting standard council channels, reached Unity Station. Nezal intercepted it by chance, curiosity piqued by a spectral anomaly in the comm layers. The message, when decrypted, chilled her. A splinter faction from within the Confederation, the Purity Mandate, intended to sabotage talks. They believed humanity's volatile nature a contagion, not an asset. Their plan, deploy a stealth kinetic strike against Unity Station itself, framing it as a human accident to trigger punitive annexation. Nezal slammed the data onto the table before Vex'tulia and Blackburn. "They're coming," she said. "Not to talk." Blackburn's face hardened. "Then we talk after we survive." Earth's defenses scrambled. Mesh-coordinated railgun arrays reoriented. Orbital mines activated. But the Mandate's stealth ships were ghosts, built to glide through detection nets like mist through fingers. Hours later, alarms howled across Unity Station. The first kinetic rod struck just outside Unity Station's outer ring, vaporizing a maintenance tower into spiraling debris. The entire station shuddered, internal gravity fields struggling to compensate. Vex'tulia and Blackburn barely kept their footing as emergency shutters slammed across the glass dome. Red hazard glyphs pulsed across every surface. Impact on Sector 12, Zolvax barked over the comms. Hull integrity compromised but holding. Secondary impacts incoming. Return fire, Blackburn snapped. Use minimal force. We want evidence, not a battlefield. Earth's orbital defense array roared to life. Railguns, disguised as civilian cargo tethers, pivoted and launched slugs at relativistic speeds. The first counterstrike tore through a Mandate stealth frigate, peeling it open like an overripe fruit. Nettle's console spat raw telemetry. Confirmed. Purity mandate hull designs, signature matrices match classified registry. Vex'tulia clenched his fists. They are committing open treason. They're betting on speed, Blackburn said grimly. Destroy Unity Station fast enough, and it won't matter who fired first. Another impact rocked the station closer this time. Oxygen alarms blared. Emergency bulkheads slammed down, isolating breach sectors. We need to draw them off, Vex'tulia said. Give them a bigger target. Blackburn grinned fiercely. I have an idea. Minutes later, Unity Station's gravitic core flared, faking a catastrophic overload. Confederation and Terran engineers broadcast simulated failure signals, mimicking a reactor breach about to cascade. To the attacking Mandate ships, it appeared as if the station was moments from total implosion. Predictably, they swooped closer, seeking to confirm the kill. That was their mistake. Hidden rail emplacements on Luna's far side, hastily reactivated by Terran militias, speared the closing attackers with pinpoint precision. 2 frigates disintegrated, another tumbled, venting drive plasma. Meanwhile, Confederation security teams aboard Unity Station executed precision strikes against infiltrators who had embedded themselves months earlier under diplomatic pretense. Combat footage later showed human Marines and Trinity operatives fighting side by side through smoke-choked corridors. By the 4th hour, it was over. The surviving Mandate ships broke formation, scattering into deep orbit. Confederation loyalist cruisers scrambled to pursue. In the battered council chamber, amid flashing damage control holos, Vex'tulia turned to Blackburn. You fought with courage, he said. And you fought with honor, she replied. It was not just flattery. In those frantic hours, a bond had been forged, tempered by fire, impossible to replicate by treaty alone. The next challenge loomed even larger, presenting this chaos to the Confederation Council without allowing the Mandate's narrative to take root. We must act, Nezal urged, before they spin this as a failed human peace experiment. Agreed, Vex'tulia said. He keyed open a new encrypted channel, not to the Confederation's ossified diplomats, but to the reformist bloc, younger worlds, restless worlds, those who had chafed under the Council's stagnation. His message was simple. We fought together. We bled together. It is time to build together. Within hours, sympathetic responses flooded back. The reformist bloc's support arrived faster than Vex'tulia dared hope. By the next rotation cycle, provisional signatures from 8 core worlds and 16 frontier colonies backed a motion to convene an emergency assembly, bypassing traditional slow bureaucratic channels that the Purity Mandate relied upon to mask their actions. Unity Station became the symbolic nerve center of this new momentum. Though still scarred from the kinetic strike, its banners now displayed a new emblem. Earth's arc intertwined with the 7 Confederation glyphs, surrounded by a spiral of stars, a symbol of unity forged in defiance. Inside the hastily rebuilt assembly hall, delegates beamed themselves in via secure hololinks. Flesh and blood representatives from Earth, the Trinity, the Crown clans, and newly invited smaller species filled the physical seats. Security was tighter than a siege perimeter. Admiral Blackburn stood at the central podium, flanked by Vex'tulia and Nezal. The assembly floor buzzed with tension as she addressed them all. We are not here because humanity demanded it, she began, voice clear and steady. We are here because an attack meant to divide us failed, and instead fused our futures together. She gestured at the footage playing behind her, Unity Station's defense, Trinity Marines covering Terran engineers, human rail batteries shielding Crown corvettes. We did not win alone, Blackburn said. We won because we fought as one storm, one ship, one voice. Ripples of reaction moved through the delegates. Some skeptical, some thrilled, but not everyone was convinced. A voice, cold and formal, cut across the chamber. What assurance do we have, asked Speaker Melzar of the Purity Remnant, that these Terrans will not contaminate the Confederation's traditions with their chaos? Blackburn didn't flinch. She had expected this. I suggest, she said coolly, you review the traditions of those who sought to sabotage peace. She transmitted the decrypted mandate orders, proof of internal betrayal. It cascaded across assembly holos. Gasps rippled. Melzar's expression twisted, but the momentum had shifted. Speaker Joran of the Crown clans rose next. What contaminates is stagnation. What renews is evolution. One by one, minor delegates aligned. Reformists, frontier worlds, trade guilds, the quiet majority tired of the old power games. By session's end, the motion passed. Earth would be granted full probationary membership in the Confederation, equal to any founding species. It was historic. It was destabilizing. And it was only the beginning. Outside Unity Station's perimeter, hidden fleets stirred uneasily. The Purity Mandate had failed to sever the alliance, but they had not vanished. Their agents seeded doubts through sympathetic news nets. They whispered of human unpredictability, of viral cultures infecting pristine systems. Their goal had shifted, not direct attack, but slow corrosion from within. On Earth itself, ordinary citizens reacted to the news with a mixture of elation and anxiety. Memes exploded overnight, some celebratory, others mocking, others fearful. Hashtag First Contact was trending alongside hashtag Alien Allies and hashtag Welcome to the Wormhole. Governments scrambled to adapt. Treaties were drafted in emergency sessions. Industrialists salivated at the thought of alien markets. Cultural purists wailed about Earth's identity being sold for starship blueprints. Through it all, Blackburn and Vex'tulia maintained a steady public front, unity, patience, vigilance. But they knew storms still brewed. Weeks later, as Unity Station's scarred decks were replaced with new hybrid alloys, human carbon-forged polymers woven with Trinity kinetic mesh, a new threat emerged. Not from warships, not from railguns, from whispers. A coded transmission, origin unknown, seeped into the open mesh. Unity is a lie. Alliance is subjugation. Resistance is freedom. Accompanied by video snippets, carefully edited footage showing Confederation forces in their most oppressive moments, suppressing insurrections, levying tributes. Context stripped. Emotion weaponized. Within hours, nodes on 3 frontier colonies suffered network collapses, drowning in disinformation cascades. Mars's terraforming array narrowly avoided a sabotage attempt, traced back to a freedom cell, radicalized overnight by the false leaks. Vex'tulia stared at the mesh diagnostics grimly. "It's not ships we must defend against now," he said to Blackburn. "It's ideas." Blackburn nodded, jaw tight. "Then we counter with better ones." And they set to work, launching Project Arcfire, a sweeping counter-campaign blending truth, transparency, and raw cultural exchange, designed not to crush dissent, but to inoculate minds against engineered fear. Earth's memes, Trinity logic puzzles, Crown dream tales, all weaponized not for war, but for cohesion. A battle for the heart of the Confederation had begun, and it would not be won by firepower. It would be won by trust, story by story, connection by connection. One storm, one ship, one future. Still unfinished, and all the more beautiful for it. Project Arcfire launched with quiet urgency. No mass announcements, no grand speeches, just thousands of subtle initiatives weaving themselves into the living mesh of the Confederation's communication networks. Documentaries highlighting the first Unity Station battle aired simultaneously across 36 worlds. Educational exchanges matched human students with Crown learning covens. Interactive holonovels dramatized moments of solidarity. Trinity soldiers carrying wounded Terran engineers, Crown dreamshapers rebuilding shattered mesh nodes by singing into fractured crystals. No official seals. No top-down messaging. Just millions of small, personal windows into what the Alliance meant. It wasn't perfection. It wasn't utopia. It was survival through unity. And against the whisper campaigns of the Purity Mandate, that authenticity proved lethal. The Mandate tried to adapt. They unleashed counter-propaganda, deepfakes of human atrocities, doctored Confederation memos alleging secret human supremacy plots. But the decentralized Arcfire network was faster. Whenever a new lie surfaced, hundreds of citizens dissected it live, debunking, ridiculing, and dissolving it before it could metastasize. Truth was messy, but it traveled faster than fear when enough hands carried it. Meanwhile, Admiral Blackburn and Vex'tulia prepared for the next phase, Earth's official seating at the Grand Council Convocation. An event centuries in the making, and one their enemies would stop at nothing to disrupt. Security plans span light years. Outer patrol grids of Crown bioships. Trinity Gravlancers on intercept vectors. Human drone clouds running quantum entanglement pings every second. Even so, there were whispers of an unprecedented plot, not to destroy the Alliance by force, but to humiliate it, to trigger a scandal so vast that no amount of idealism could survive. Details were scarce. Intelligence reports contradicted each other hourly. In the final pre-departure meeting aboard Unity Station, Vex'tulia laid it out bluntly. "Expect the unexpected." Blackburn nodded grimly. "And have a better meme ready when it hits." The council convocation itself took place aboard Pax Magna, a mobile station the size of a small moon, ringed with ceremonial banners larger than city blocks. Delegations arrived in grandeur, solar-sailed barges, crystalline slip frigates, entire hollowed-out asteroids pulsing with refracted starlight. And among them, Earth's delegation, sleek hybrid ships bearing the spiral arc insignia. Terra Media captured every frame. Children watched from classroom holopods. Refugees on frontier worlds cheered. Even cynics leaned forward. In the main chamber, under the endless mirrored dome, humanity's delegation, Blackburn, 3 planetary envoys, and an AI diplomat named Solace, stepped onto the speaking platform. Protocol demanded they present a cultural offering, a tradition older than Starflight, offered as a token of goodwill. Blackburn chose something simple, something almost laughably human. She stood alone and sang. No translation fields, no holo-augmentation, just a clear, human voice carrying a folk song that once crossed battlefields and oceans. A song about wandering, about storms endured and homes rebuilt. At first, the chamber seemed stunned, uncomprehending. Then the meaning bled through, because grief, hope, and stubbornness did not need translation. One by one, crowned dreamers shifted their vines to echo the melody. Trinity harmonized in low subsonic bass. Carrions pulsed colored light patterns that matched the rhythm. A spontaneous, chaotic chorus rolled through the council. The planned sabotage, an anonymous leak timed to prove human arrogance, fell flat. The leak surfaced in a moment of raw connection so strong that nobody cared. Blackburn's voice, woven with the song of countless other species, buried it under something no algorithm could suppress. Belonging. Afterward, as the council recessed, Vex'tulia found Blackburn leaning against a rail, breathless. "You have many weapons," he said quietly. "I think that may be your deadliest." She laughed, wiping sweat from her brow. "It's not a weapon." He inclined his head slightly. "Then it is a shield we sorely needed." Above them, Pax Magna's internal starscape flickered, millions of points of simulated starlight, and for the first time, one of them pulsed faint blue in humanity's name. A new beacon, a new chapter, and somewhere, in the deep dark between stars, those who had gambled on Earth's failure recalibrated, because now, humanity wasn't standing alone. It was standing inside a choir, and the song had only just begun. Weeks after the convocation, the Confederation's star lanes thrummed with a new, electric urgency. Trade routes buzzed faster. Academic exchanges tripled. And everywhere, from frontier mining colonies to core world megacities, people, no matter the species, spoke the same word with mingled awe and disbelief. Earth, the planet once catalogued as a preliminary subject world, was now a symbol, a proof that change was possible. And symbols, once unleashed, were impossible to cage. But in the shadowed places between the lanes, the purity mandate festered. Their fleets crippled, their influence eroding, they resorted to desperate measures. A signal pierced the quantum dark, an ancient beacon, buried long before the Confederation's founding, shuddered to life. Coordinates flashed across secret networks, an invitation and a warning. Admiral Blackburn, monitoring clandestine channels from Unity Station, caught the edge of the pulse. Vex'tulia identified the signature first. His spine stiffened. "A doomsday cache," he said, voice low. "Pre-Confederation relic. Unstable, forgotten for a reason." Blackburn scanned the decoded fragments. The cache contained catalyst seeds, devices designed to destabilize planetary crusts from orbit. One seed could reduce a world to magma tides within days. And now, the mandate intended to use them, to erase Earth itself if they couldn't isolate it politically. No bargaining, no deniability, just annihilation. Within minutes, Unity Station became a war room. Crown Bloom ships dispatched ahead to trace the cache's vector. Trinity infiltration squads prepped to intercept carrier vessels. Terran engineers jury-rigged arc-fire arrays into planet-wide shield harmonics, repurposing the meme network as a literal defense grid. The plan was insane. It had to be. The Mandate Strike Force emerged near Jupiter's orbit, sleek black ships wrapped in gravitic cloaks. They fired the catalyst seeds toward Earth without ceremony, without broadcast. Pure, silent murder. But humanity wasn't waiting helplessly. The arc-fire mesh caught the seed's slipstream, each node flooding localized space-time with disruptive frequencies. Crown resonance tech amplified the distortions. Terran quantum loops bent probabilities into minute imperfections. One by one, the seeds failed to fully activate, detonating harmlessly against high orbit, flaring like dead stars. Only one seed broke through. It screamed toward Earth, trailing antimatter streamers. Vex'tulia himself piloted the intercept. Not a drone, not a missile. A single hybrid fighter, Unity's Spear, its frame cobbled from Earth steel and Trinity latticework, its core a crown-crafted anomaly reactor. Blackburn's voice crackled in his headset. "You don't have to. I already chose," he said simply. He slammed the ship into a hyperbolic arc, riding space-time crests invisible to Terran physics but second nature to Trinity senses. Closer. Closer. The seed bloated in his vision, a writhing black cyst about to vomit fire. At the final instant, Vex'tulia triggered the anomaly core. A bloom of impossible color ripped outward, not an explosion, but an unmaking. The catalyst seed unraveled into quarks and whispered out of existence. There was no great sound, just silence. And Vex'tulia's ship, vaporized with it. Back on Earth, shields held. Unity Station buzzed with chaotic relief. Flags, human and alien alike, were lowered to half-mast. Blackburn stood before a crowd of millions, speaking to 1,000 worlds. He did not fall in battle. He rose, a bridge no empire can tear down. Every Confederation node pulsed the same memorial glyph. The Purity Mandate's remnants, exposed and despised, withered in the political sun. Sanctions gutted their hidden allies. Their fleets defected or surrendered. Earth stood not only defended, but vindicated. In the following months, the Confederation ratified the Unity Accord, transforming from a hierarchy into a true alliance of equals. Human technology merged openly with Trinity Lattice Think, Crown Bioengineering, Kaltari Quantum Symphonics. 1,000 minor species, long silent, found their voices amplified. The Confederation didn't collapse. It evolved. And at its heart pulsed the rhythm of Earth's stubborn, chaotic, dreaming. In a quiet memorial garden aboard Unity Station, Blackburn visited the newest monument. A simple stone, no grand hologram, no golden plaque, just a single inscription in human English and Trinity glyph. One ship, one storm, one future. She smiled. Above her, Unity Station's banners caught the solar wind. The story wasn't over. It had only just begun.